Hi crafty friends, this is card number 26 in Full Deck Challenge 3. Can you believe we are halfway through the deck? I have my constant, which is the postage stamp. I have a few, and today I'm working with purple. My carryover item from last week, I'm going to keep it simple. I'm going to use some book page that I used in the background. I'm going to start with my background. I'm going to keep the stamps for later. They will be part of my focal point. As a first step today, I'm going to add some white tissue paper. I'm going to cover the entire face of the card with this using Mod Podge. As I'm not sure yet what I'm doing with this card, I'm just going to cover the entire card with the tissue paper to prepare it for anything that I might do. Using Mod Podge and the tissue paper you would use for gift wrapping, I've just put one layer, and then I'm also applying Mod Podge over the top of the tissue paper, and then I'm going to dry it well. Next, I'm going to work on my mini collage, which is the overall theme for this entire challenge. And I'm just going to take little bits of my book page, which is my carryover item, and other little bits of paper, which are sort of in a vintagey style, and place them like a patchwork on the background. Again, I'm using Mod Podge. And just to let you know, it's never too late to join in the Full Deck Challenge. This is deck 3. I have deck 1 and 2, which I've done in previous years. I will link all the playlists in the description box below. You can start on any deck and with any card. And if you're on Facebook, just search for my group, Full Deck Challenge Group. You're welcome to join this wonderful community. If you're interested in joining this Challenge 3, you'll hear the word constant and carryover and mini collage. I will link the first video of this challenge at the bottom too, which is an introductory video explaining how this challenge works specifically. I'm now going to add some white gesso over that background collage. I want to soften the overall look so that my focal points will stand out more. If you apply the gesso pretty thinly, everything underneath still shines through and you don't lose the designs of the collage. You can always go in with a baby wipe and wipe off any gesso you don't want while it is still wet. I think that's fine for now. Let's dry it. And then trim off all that excess. The prompt for next week is numbers. My background is done. I'm now going to work on the focal point. I have the idea in my mind. I'm not sure how it's going to work out, but we can see together. I'm going to create a mini masterboard using purples. And I'm going to include my postage stamps in this. When I say mini, it's because it's going to be small. I only need a small piece, and the pieces I'm going to add are also going to be small. It's basically a small scale masterboard. And it's going to be in its simplest format with these pieces just stuck down. I'm going to use glue stick. And because, crafty friends, I don't want to bore you to death, we all know how to glue and stick. I'm going to fast forward quite a bit through this part. I'll show you a few snippets just to see the progress. You can see I have incorporated the postage stamps, just part of the background, sideways, upside down, just bringing that additional color. And now that's done, I'm going to turn it over and just using a pencil, I'm going to draw some hearts, different sizes. And I'm not using a template because I want them asymmetrical. I'm going to fill that entire section with some hearts. And then I'm going to cut them all out. Again, I'm not going to show you this entire process, but what I am going to do is, as I'm cutting them out, I'm going to lay them upside down and only reveal them at the end. I do love the surprise of seeing what has come out when I've cut it out. I think it's the best part of making a masterboard. It always looks so different when you've cut it up into different shapes. And there are all my cute little hearts. I'm going to add them randomly onto my background. I just wanted a card full of hearts. And I know what you're thinking. The prompt is wrap. Where's that going to come in? Keep watching. Just moving them around to find the perfect place and balance. I'm happy with the placement, so I'm going to glue these down. And I'm purposefully leaving a little bit of the heart hanging off. As you might have noticed, a lot of times I don't like to be confined to the space of the card, and I do tend to spill over. And because I have a heart hanging off on the top right to balance it out, I've put one sort of on the bottom left too. Using my trusty black fine liner, I'm going to go around these hearts to give them definition. I'm going around a few times and I'm doing it pretty quickly. I want it to look hand-drawn and doodle-like. I drew a few additional ones in the spaces. And now for the wrap, which is the actual prompt. I'm using some Hessian string. I don't have a long piece, I have a few small pieces, so I'm just going to tie them together to make a long piece. And then I'm going to wrap it around my card quite a few times. And then I'm going to add something a little special. I have these teeny tiny little jars with a cork lid, and I'm going to fill one up with some glitter, and the glitter is purple hearts. Thankfully, there's a little funnel that comes with these little jars, so it's easy to fill it up with the hearts. Look, it's a little jar of hearts. I think it's very cute. And I'm going to attach that onto the wrap so it looks like it is tied on. It'll be hanging off the card. A bit of a 3D element. I don't feel I need any glue for this. The little jar is really light. I'm just going to tie a really tight knot around the neck of the jar and then tie a one-sided bow. I'm going to edge the card with some black using a black watercolor pencil. I'm doing this just to create balance with the black around each of the hearts. And I think it finishes it off really nicely. I also decided to add some color to those little smaller hearts that I drew, and I'm just going to use acrylic markers for that. Let me show you a close-up of the card so you can see my little jar of hearts all tied on in the wrap. I really hope you enjoyed this video and were inspired to create your own and join in the full deck challenge if you haven't already. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the little bell so you're notified every time I upload new content. Thanks again for watching, happy creating, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.